All right, we're live at Defcon, the last day, the final day, thank God.
Yes, oh my gosh, it's been a long journey to get here, but the village has been wildly successful. Things have just been going so smoothly. I mean, the first day, there was about a dozen little fires to put out, but kind of after that, things have been just absolutely fantastic. I couldn't be more thrilled with how this village turned out.
Yeah, now that we have you on camera, I just want to commend you. Amazing job, man. I mean, we heard about DEF CON, I've heard about the village. It's hard to really understand what's involved unless you're here. It's just mayhem, and you guys are doing a great job.
Yeah, it's really difficult to describe. So last year was my first DEF CON, and I had no idea what to expect going in. So I arrive, and I'm also kind of working the village and trying to make sure everything's okay. And there's, once again, tons of little fires to put out and stuff. But then on the other side of it, you ask people, okay, so how do you think the village went? Not necessarily the people working the village, but the people who attended the village. And it was great. Everything was awesome. You guys really look like you had everything together. So it's good to know that on that surface level, people can see that everything looks really well put together. But yeah, man, DEF CON's a trip. And if you guys are in the community and you're missing it, I know getting to the U.S. sometimes can be difficult, but by all means, come check us out next year, if they have us next year.
What'd you think of this year versus last, comparison-wise?
So they gave us not as good of a location in that we're kind of up the elevators and down the hall. To be fair, DEF CON itself is much more fragmented this year. It's across 4 hotels as opposed to 2 of last year. So everyone kind of, I think, was shuffled around a little bit more than they would have liked. But we did get a bigger room, so we were able to fit in more chairs, and those chairs were actually put to good use on several of the talks. They were very well attended. I would say that despite the lack of location, right, in terms of quality, everything else was a step up this year. Just the content, the amount of extras that we have, the swag that we were able to give away, the shirts that we were able to sell to support.
The coffee.
Yes, the coffee. You guys out here doing the Plinko boards and the coffee and stuff, that's been really awesome, and getting people into the village. Once again, similar to last year, we were one of 2 villages that were open on Thursday, so we had a huge tidal wave of people who were kind of checking DEF CON out, but nothing was open. And they're like, oh, this door's open, Monero's open. We were giving away all this stuff, and so it's been fun.
Yeah, I guess what was a real eye-opener for me is the amount of people that actually don't know about Monero. So you're running into all these people in DEF CON. I don't know how many people are here, 20,000 people or something ridiculous. They're all obviously into things like cybersecurity, and you just think they would all know about Monero, and they don't.
Right. I would say probably 95% of people have heard of Bitcoin, right? They know what Bitcoin is. Being in this space, it's kind of hard to, if you're in any sort of information security or stuff, you're going to come across that at some point. I've had very few people, but they do exist, where they're like, I don't really know much about cryptocurrencies, so what can you tell us? And it's cool that Monero is kind of one of the first things that they're introduced to in that way. But there are a few people that have heard of Monero, some people that are gung-ho Monero fans that I wouldn't have expected, right? But it's been a great education opportunity, because one of the big questions they ask is, how come you guys have a presence here and none of the other coins have a presence here? And you're able to explain how really Monero has this open source, hacker, grassroots base and foundation that really jives well with what DEF CON is all about, kind of this anti-corporatism, kind of from the ground up building. And none of the other coins have that in spades like Monero does. And this is the reason why Monero has a presence here. Nobody else does for the 2nd year in a row.
Yep. Yeah, no, that really kind of blew my mind, the amount of people that don't know, and I do see, yeah, it's just a great opportunity. You go to a Monero conference, which we had in Denver, or any other crypto conference, it's just you're in a bubble of people that already understand and know the technology. Here is a great opportunity to just kind of slowly spread their word among other people that should be conducive to believing in it, yeah. Given all these things, that it's open source, and it's kind of a perfect match for Monero and DEF CON.
Yeah, in many ways, it's a lot easier of a sell. So I've said before that when I go to other conferences, or when I talk about Monero to a lot of other people, what ends up happening is only the last 20% of my spiel is about Monero. The first 80% is kind of selling a worldview of privacy and kind of why it's important. And only after they shift worldviews, if they shift worldviews, does Monero become self-evident. If you never really adopt this worldview of privacy and freedom, Monero, I can see how it wouldn't make a lot of sense to you. It's okay, well, that's kind of cool that this exists, but I'm not sure I agree 100% with everything going on here. So with a lot of these people that come to DEF CON, they're already involved in this kind of thing. They already believe a lot of these things. So really, it's just the thing of explaining to them why Monero is in many ways stronger than Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, and it is already quite self-evident to them. So it's a wonderful audience with tons and tons of people in which we can kind of talk about this stuff.
We got Need Money over here. You want to jump on? You want to come on? What's going on, man?
Live from Defcon. Hello, rehrar here.
I think move in a little bit. Are you having a good time? What?
You know, this is a fantastic event. My second Defcon. Wouldn't miss it next year for anything. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Awesome.
He says he wouldn't miss it for anything, but you should see how we had to twist his arm to get him here.
I feel like Need Money's amazing personality doesn't translate well on YouTube.
Or anywhere.
If for nothing else, come to DEF CON to meet Need Money and just hang out with the dude.
Yeah.
And I got to say that, but you guys, it's just been great. That's been also like a really awesome aspect, just being able to hang out with the Monero community, everybody trying to, kind of get to know each other a little more. I mean, that's been working out nicely as well.
Yeah, putting names to faces is always something that's one of my favorite things to do at these kinds of things. And I understand not everybody's all about putting a name to a face, and that's totally okay. But I think over the course of time, and as more people have put names to faces, others have become kind of more comfortable with that idea. It's like, well, if they're able to do it, then maybe I can do it and it won't be so bad. Kind of as Monero moves out of this stigma of kind of privacy is for criminals and, I wonder what people will think of me if they know I work with Monero or are in the Monero community. As that stigma begins to lift tiny bit by tiny bit year after year, I think we're going to see more and more people just not ashamed. Just like I'm not ashamed to say I've got dollars in my pocket, no one's going to be ashamed to say, oh, yeah, I use Monero.
Right. I know. I felt like the first jackass doing a YouTube Monero show. It's like you're not supposed to be doing that.
Right.
No, but at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, that's got to be the next step, right? It can't be you can't be ashamed to have and use Monero. It's the equivalent of having cash in your pocket. So I think we're starting to get to that point.
Yep, and it's a process, and stuff like this is one of the quickest avenues to make that happen.
All right, man. Awesome. Great job.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Cheers.